To always get the latest Game Tea, do not forget to follow us on social media. You can find us on Facebook at The Game Tea Podcast, and you can find us on Twitter at Game Tea Podcast X. We post memes, gaming news, retweet friends of the pod, and of course let you know when new episodes are available for your listening pleasure. Links are all available in the description of this episode, so check them out after the show, and thank you so much for listening to the Game Tea Podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Game Tea Podcast. My name is JP.
I'm Peaches.
I'm Zach, who goes third sometimes.
And I'm Czar.
Oh my god, what was that sound that we just heard?
A wild Czar has appeared.
A wild Czar has appeared? Where the fuck have you been?
Who let him back in?
Not too wild. I'm pretty incapacitated at the moment.
What have you done to yourself?
Yeah, let's address the elephant in the room. Czar, just give us the unadulterated story of where the hell you've been.
Well, as many have known for quite a while, I've been having some back problems. I don't know if we've talked about it too much on the podcast, but I was getting better. Everything was returning to normal. And then, like an idiot I participated in a golfing event that ended up twisting my spine.
The least athletic sport there is.
I know. I thought I was totally fine. I thought, there's no way golf could hurt you.
It's just golf.
Turns out when you have a spinal injury, golf really does hurt you.
Boo.
But, so yeah, I twisted my back and I had a herniated disc, and my already herniated disc pushed more cartilage out into my sciatic nerve, which if you sit on the toilet for too long and your leg goes numb, that is the nerve you're affecting.
That's a fun word. Can you say sciatic again?
Sciatic. Sciatic.
That's nice.
Ooh. Yeah, but that nerve pinched off is not much fun. I was in the most pain I have ever felt in my life and hope to ever feel in my life. It was awful. So last week I finally had surgery on my spine, and what they did was they went in and they scraped off all of the cartilage that was pressing into the nerve.
Sweet.
And yeah, they took it out. So now I'm in a recovery period and it's going well, but I'm really freaking sore. I have no energy and I don't even know what I'm talking about at most points. So this will be fun. This will be a fun return.
How is that any different from the rest of your time on this podcast?
Normally my back doesn't hurt.
There you go.
Yeah.
Czar, for what it's worth, we really missed you, man. It's just not the same without you. And we were just like, oh, fuck, it sounds like he's in a lot of pain.
Yeah. Well, I'm really happy that you and Zach visited me recently. That really uplifted my spirits.
What was the best gift, me or Zach's gift? Say the Pokemon cards.
Whoever gave me the Pokemon cards with the Score Bunny on it.
Yeah, I know Zach gave you a whole ass capture card, but
for free.
Oh, you think it's for free, baby?
Oh, is there a price later?
Oh,
am I paying with ass and grass, or gas?
Foot pics?
You don't have any of those things.
I have none of those.
Also, I beat Dark Souls, so I'm better than all of you now. And
Woo! So Zach, you have completed a game that I refuse to play out of frustration.
I don't know if it was the 45 hours, but I am, as JP described, on Cloud 9.
Zach, I heard when you beat Dark Souls, you just grow a fedora and gain 50 pounds. Is that true?
Maybe.
Zach, your time spent on the shores of hell was minuscule compared to some adventures. There are hundreds of hours spent in this game. And you escaped at 45? That is not too bad.
That's not too shabby.
I did have Rail coaching me. It was nice. That kind of segues into one of our questions. We got to save that one for later. Who wants to... What are we doing today, guys? What are we doing today?
Hold on.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
I get you're excited, but there's one fun fact that I want to kind of blow your guys' mind with.
God, okay. God.
Anyway, this isn't the blimp one, all right? We're past the blimps.
Oh, but the blimp one is so interesting.
The viewers need to know about the blimp.
Remember, we need something to open the next episode,
I got this
boys.
fun fact already locked and loaded.
Okay, fine. What's the fucking fun fact?
All right, so in Mass Effect 2, there's a...
Oh, I'm already uninterested.
More Mass Effect.
Well, there's nothing wrong with more Mass Effect. I think everybody could go with more Mass Effect.
I didn't say it was a bad thing.
All right, so in Mass Effect 2, there's a character named Samara who is voice acted by somebody named Maggie Baird. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But just for fun, take a guess at who her daughter is and just spit out any wild one.
Jennifer Lawrence.
Kardak Ya?
Joe Mama.
All right, so you're all very close. JP was probably closest with Joe Mama. It's actually Billie Eilish.
Whoa.
No
What?
way!
That's... Huh. That's cool.
So,
That's wild, actually.
Billie
That is a
Eilish
pretty
is
fun
1
fact.
degree of separation from Mass Effect. So, anyways.
Which makes sense if you look at her.
So she's basically Mass Effect adjacent.
Yeah, so I mean, anyways, I'm Billie Eilish's #1 fan now. I'm going to be posting a bunch of fan cams on
What about Taylor Swift?
I can be the #1 fan of multiple people.
Gosh, yeah, he can lead
If you
as
say
many
so.
fan clubs as he wants.
It's a lot of work.
I'm so tired.
I feel
But
that.
Can we get into what we're doing
Yeah,
today? We're already
yeah.
7 minutes in.
Yeah, we can get into the real stuff now.
All right, today we are doing an episode of answering gaming's biggest questions. Now, we've got 4 questions in the chamber. We're going to see how we do because really we're on a timer today to see how long Czar can stay awake before the painkillers get him.
I got
So-
20 minutes.
I got to
Oh, shit.
Who's got money
set
on
the
30?
timer. Well, Jesus, I'm glad we spent 2 minutes talking about Billie Eilish. All right, so we're going to try and get through 4 different questions. We're going to do, at what point is it okay to use a walkthrough? Celebs becoming posters for games. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? We're going to do how many sequels can you make before it's time to give up on a series? And we're going to ask, to what extent are we fine adding elements of competition to not typically competitive games? So, I say somebody gets us started with number 1. At what point is it okay to use a walkthrough? Now, I've got some hard takes on this, but obviously, we gotta get everybody's opinion on this. Czar, since you're the first one back in a while, why don't you answer this question for us first? What do you think is the appropriate amount? What do you think is the appropriate use of a walkthrough?
Oh, you know we couldn't have an episode devoted to hot takes without Czar returning, so I'm very liberal with the use of walkthroughs. I think walkthroughs are okay at any point. Hell, I was playing Link's Awakening, one of the games I've been beating throughout my recovery, and I've been using walkthroughs left and right because, I get stuck and I want to progress. I don't want to sit in frustration for hours. I mean, just because I have the free time now doesn't mean I'm going to have the free time to waste that much thought process on a simplistic puzzle that was meant for children any longer.
Okay.
But no, I think it really comes down to walkthroughs are okay whenever you feel like they are. If you get stuck, use them. What are your guys' thoughts here? I kind of want something else to bounce off of.
No, that's disgusting. How dare you? You do it all by yourself, solo. JP, I want to hear your hard take, because it sounds like you completely disagree with Czar.
It's not that I completely disagree. It's more about the time than it is like the hard opinion, I guess. So, okay, here's my personal rule. As far as completing a game, like let's say you're going after completion, like it's not just about like getting through the story of the game, it's about completion. I say if you're going for 100%, you can use a walkthrough all you fucking want after you've beaten the main story of a game. Like if you're going for completion, that's my take. But if it's like you're in the middle of a story of a game, a walkthrough should only be used sparingly and only if you've exhausted literally all of your options. Like, you're in a dungeon, right? And you just can't figure out where to go. You've looked in every corner. You've used all of your items. You've hit the wall with random things just to see what would fucking stick, and you can't figure it out. And you've spent like too much time. Let's say you've just, it's a little arbitrary, but too much time trying to get through a puzzle. then you can use a walkthrough, and only then you can only use a walkthrough, in my opinion, to like just get through to the next like phase, I guess. Is my opinion.
That's fair, unless you're talking about Legend of Zelda. I feel like some of those games you kind of have to have a walkthrough because the puzzle is just so obscure that it's unguessable.
I mean, maybe this is just because of my big smooth brain, but there's never been like a time past like a certain age where I had to use a walkthrough to get through Zelda dungeons, because some of them can be kind of convoluted and hard, but Zelda dungeons for the most part are pretty like not necessarily cut and dry, but it's like you see the same kinds of mechanics throughout the games, you know? It almost repeats itself.
It's true. They utilize the same situations. You know, you get a unique item that helps you progress in a platform manner, and then the rest of the dungeon is devoted to using said item that you got.
Right. Exactly.
And
but
see,
like that's
oh, sorry, keep going. I mean,
no, keep going, Zach. I've spoken enough.
Yeah, and so like I get where you're going from, JP, and I'm with Zara on this one. I kind of think like it's your game. Do whatever you want with it. Like if you want to walk through because you're stuck, you know when you're frustrated, you know when you're at your limit. I do think that JP, where you're coming from, is completely valid. You're kind of, I don't know, ruining this part of learning that the developer thought would make you feel very satisfied afterwards. And I do think when you use a guide,
right,
it does take away some of that achievement. But at the end of the day, you paid for the game and you pay for the experience, and whatever you enjoy, you can enjoy. If you use a walkthrough, no one's really gonna know. I mean, for realsies, except maybe in Dark Souls you get 100% run, then they might know a little bit, because that game is obtuse as a mama goose. Okay, you don't know what's going on in that game.
Yeah, but like knowing a
that's my two
walkthrough
thoughts.
landscape with Dark Souls is no help to you, because you're still just going to get squished no matter how much you know the landscape and where all the secrets are. That comes down to skill.
At that point, though, those
my
are more
point
like...
wasn't Dark Souls, though. That my point was on the guide part. Might be for distracting.
Well, like,
you know I'm easily distracted.
Zelda, like, the point of the game is, like... Or the point of dungeons is to give you the puzzles, right? But
yeah.
That's almost like a difference, whereas, like, Dark Souls, like... The dungeons aren't super complicated because the challenge isn't figuring out a puzzle. The challenge is just getting past the fucking boss. You know, at that point, those are more looking up tips than a walkthrough, I would say.
That's true. Tips and tricks, I think, should be labeled differently from walkthroughs, because it's not guaranteed information. It's just what works best.
I mean, what would a walkthrough of Dark Souls even fucking look like? Just LOL,
Just
good
don't.
luck, bud.
Just, you made a mistake. Turn back.
Go play Hello Kitty Island Adventure. That game has great reviews on Metacritic. IGN said you can feel like Hello Kitty.
And with that, I think we kind of got that question kind of hammered out. Unless Chaz has something to add, or JP, anybody want to end on something else? Or
Chaz actually never even gave an opinion. I want to hear what Peaches thinks.
So, I think walkthroughs can kind of ruin the surprise for a lot of games. Like, I know in Zelda Breath of the Wild, I didn't use a walkthrough. And, like, there was one point in the game where I was playing, and I think maybe a lot of you can relate to this, where I just, like, was walking around, and all of a sudden I was like, holy fuck, there's dragons in this game? And...
Oh, yeah.
Like, I was really glad I didn't look at a walkthrough, because, you know, I don't know, the surprise of that would have been lessened. But at the same time, I feel like if you're a person that uses a walkthrough, like if you still get the enjoyment out of the game, it doesn't really matter.
And I agree that, like, it's your game. You paid the money. Do whatever the hell you want. Look up a walkthrough if you really want. But, like, the best moments in gaming are better kept as secrets. And that's, like, what a walkthrough does, is it ruins the surprise. It ruins a lot of that mystery. And most of all, it ruins the feeling of accomplishment you get when you figure something out. In my opinion, which is why, and I actually wanted your guys' opinion on this too. What do you think about my opinion on using it just for like completion?
Well,
you know, if you're a completionist.
You know I'm a completionist, and that's primarily how I use walkthroughs. I used a walkthrough earlier today in Link's Awakening to get to the color dungeon so I could get new armor, like the upgraded armor in that game.
Right.
I had no idea that that dungeon and that armor existed until I actually looked up a walkthrough for the game and saw Link was in different colored clothes at the point of story progression that I was at. And so, I went back and I looked for that hidden detail that I never would have noticed without the walkthrough.
Right.
And yeah, the surprise, depending on how you use a walkthrough, you can keep that same surprise if you're careful enough. But yeah, ruining that surprise does, I would say, lessen the value of the game to an extent. Yeah, that's pretty much all I'll say, because I am so sorry, everyone. I'm so loopy. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore.
The sound effects in this episode are going to be great. I just want like weird hippie music every time Zara just starts zarring out.
Yep, that's the perfect term for it.
We'll call it
Zarring
out. Does anybody have any opinions to add to this before we move on? Because that was just supposed to be like the getting warmed up question.
Oh, that was a warm-up question. We're still under 20 minutes into the episode.
Yeah, hell yeah, we are. We're doing good on time.
We did spend 7 minutes talking about, Dark Souls and Billie Eilish and Mass Effect, so...
Oh, if only there was somebody who said maybe we should save this for a different time.
Again, it was already locked and loaded.
It wasn't, though. We couldn't. It's literally like that steamroller scene from Austin Powers. We could have steered away. You just didn't want to.
Yeah, I'm ready to move on. I mean, it's like I so don't care about walkthroughs. Like, my only problem is when they like spoil like great story games like Mass Effect.
Hey, I am not ashamed to say that I used a walkthrough for the suicide mission.
You're a son of a bitch.
I wanted everyone to live.
My first playthrough, my biggest character got carried off by bugs. The biggest guy in the game was carried off by bugs.
Oh, that.
Why bugs?
Because you fucked around and found out.
If you play the game, it would make sense. So we don't have to elaborate past that. Big guy carried off by bugs. Let's move on to the next one.
All right. So, question number 2 we got for today. Celebrities becoming the poster children for new video games. How do you feel about this trend? Is it good? Is it bad? Does it even matter? Zach, I want to hear your opinions to start off on this one.
I think this is just marketing 101. If you get someone like Vin Diesel or like Chris Pratt or like that, like you associate them with like cool. You got Groot, you got the guy from I almost said The Office, Parks and Rec, and I guess Guardians of the Galaxy. I guess he's in that too. And you're like, oh, you associate that with being super cool. And if Chris Pratt is playing the new Call of Duty, you best believe you also want to play the new Call of Duty. Okay, so like at the end of the day, like when you're in a Call of Duty commercial, that's really cool. And like some celebrities, I think, want to be in those. Whereas other games might pay a celebrity to do it so that they associate that cool feeling with the game. And the reason that the actor or actress was paid to be in it was because the game probably wasn't that good, but if you throw enough marketing dollars at it, it might still sell very well, even though the game may not actually be good. So I just think that it can be a good thing, and like if you associate a cool person with a cool game, it's a great, healthy relationship. But like if you're using it to trick people into buying your product, it can lead to some tricky waters. At the end of the day, I think that falls to the consumer and knowing how to differentiate between, hey, like Vin Diesel may be Groot, but he also was in Fast and the Furious.
And he's also in the next Ark game for some reason. That was weird. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Is that Vin Diesel? Oh my god,
Zara
it's,
and I were
it's the
watching it.
crude version of Vin Diesel.
Is that fucking Vin Diesel?
Turns out it was.
Okay,
All right, so that's my sense on it. JP and you guys, what do you think? What guys?
Fellas. I mean, it's the same thing as like any TV show or movie or commercial. Celebrities have this type of clout where they have the ability to associate their personal branding with the branding of a product, right? And taking that to video games isn't necessarily 100% new, but I don't think it's been done to the extent that it's being done now. You know, like big celebrity acting in video games is starting to become really big. The earliest example I can think of is when they had that pretty solid cast for Until Dawn, if you guys remember that. Like, they brought in a lot of like decent big name celebrities to be a part of that game.
Even further back, Mass Effect with Seth Green. Seth Green was huge, and he's kind of always been huge.
Seth Green is weird.
I made the Mass Effect reference before you, Peaches.
I was gonna go outside of Mass Effect because I feel like JP is gonna punch me if I don't stop talking about Mass Effect.
It's funny because I know where Ches is about to take this anyway. I guess I don't know. I see it as good. In my opinion, I see a lot more good coming out of this than bad, because gaming is becoming such a huge part of pop culture and has been for a while that it's gotten to the point where like celebrities that we think of in a traditional sense, like these big movie stars or whatever, are becoming the faces for video games. And that's exciting because it means more people are paying attention to video games. And therefore, we're going to see a lot more really cool projects in the future where we see these big names. Hell, maybe even stars that aren't associated with movies or anything at all. Just stars that literally come up through video games. I think that's pretty cool to think about.
But does it justify how a game is developed and released? That's kind of the question I wanted to get to here is... How does the celebrity's presence affect a game on release? Like, does it justify receiving an unfinished game? Even deeper, does it bleed into, the celebrity's personal life? Like, is the celebrity going to tank in their career if the game tanks? Like, how much are celebrities putting in this and getting out?
Well, let's talk about Keanu Reeves for that.
Yes, that is the example that I wanted to use.
So, Ches, why don't you answer Czar's question, but let's use Cyberpunk and Keanu as kind of like the forefront of the answer.
So, Czar, do you want to pose that question to me one more time?
So, do celebrities receive the backlash that the game receives if it's delayed and launched with problems?
I would say arguably probably not. I think a celebrity's brand at the moment isn't as tied to video games, especially if they're a celebrity that's coming from movies. Their brand isn't going to be as tied to video games as like movies. So like Keanu Reeves being in Cyberpunk and Cyberpunk not doing well doesn't reflect poorly on Keanu Reeves, because let's be real, like Keanu Reeves did well as an actor in Cyberpunk. Right? Like, there's nothing you can put on him for that other than, like, if you want to criticize him for promoting the game and the game turned out to be bad. But that's on marketing. That's not on him, So...
Yeah, but I feel like everyone was acting like Keanu Reeves before Cyberpunk was gift to humanity, like the ultimate gift to us as a species. And now we don't hear anything about him.
I don't think that has to do with Cyberpunk. I think that has to do with Keanu Reeves hasn't been in any big movies recently either.
And I agree with that. It's clearly a matter of presence, but I just didn't know if he would receive backlash for the poor launch of this game.
I mean, let's be real. Like, there's probably some Twitter trolls out there that gave him some flack, but overall,
I've never seen a Keanu Reeves movie again. He was awful, and this game made me cry.
But I mean, like, that also begs the question of how much of that is on Keanu. I mean, it's really the same as movies where
literally zero.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has no hand in the development.
Precisely. Like, it's the same as if it were a movie being developed, right? It's like Keanu is just there to bring the character that's been written to life with his talent. But he didn't write the character. He didn't write these lines. He didn't do any of that, He just played the part he was, supposed to play. Maybe did a little bit of the marketing aid, but he didn't write any of those either. I know this has nothing to do with the question technically, but I have heard... But, like, Keanu was never the point of, like, scorn from these people that wanted to go against Cyberpunk 2077. In fact, that was usually the one saving grace that people had if they hated the game, was saying that Johnny Silverhands as a character was so unbelievably well executed. And I totally agree. You know, Keanu really made that game special, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like, I don't know, like, do you hold like Elijah Wood responsible for like how Spyro the Dragon does? No, I mean, he's just a voice actor in the game.
Elijah Wood is a voice.
Wood does
what?
Spyro?
I feel like I just dropped some information that you guys didn't know about.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, I'm completely clueless. That's awesome, though.
That's really cool.
I like Elijah Wood. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, Wilfred was a dope show.
Oh, I loved Wilfred.
He was in like, The Legend of Spyro. I don't know if that's like,
Huh.
Legend of Spyro was a bad one, but it's fine.
But do you like that again? Like, do you hold Elijah Wood accountable for that, or
Absolutely, man. Elijah was
Well,
voice
clearly
acting.
not, because I didn't even know he was in the game.
exactly? There's no real. I don't see the real connection between like if this was a voice actor like who exclusively does games, maybe even honestly even then now, like as long as they perform well, they're doing their job, they're fine.
I was going to say, so unless the voice actor is just complete dog shit at their job, then, you know, it's totally fine. And no one really blames any of the celebrities, which, you know, that's natural. That's should go without saying.
Now, I feel like we should move on to the other part of this
yeah.
question, though. Like, do we think that this as a trend is good or bad for games? Like, do we like seeing actors like Kit Harington pop up in our Call of Duties? Do we like our Shaquille O'Neal's popping up in Shaq Fu?
Shaq Fu, the remake we all needed.
Do we like Burt Reynolds in Saints Row? I mean, I feel like I'm on the side of like
I forgot it was in Saints Row.
I love seeing these actors pop up in games that I enjoy, and I mean I don't mind it. I think it's fine.
At its most... sorry, you want to go?
Yeah, I was just going to quickly say that I'm going to be the first to say that I love the inclusion. I think it's awesome, the integration of like film, cinema, and television and video games. I mean, it's the mashup we all dreamed about, right?
Of course.
Maybe not.
No, I mean, absolutely. Like,
it
provides legitimacy to gaming that, you know, previously wasn't there, you know?
As long as it's not overdone, like I don't want Patton Oswalt's cooking simulator like 2022 to come out.
I'm sorry, are you trying to slander Patton Oswalt to me right now?
No, he could be better utilized, just not in a cooking game.
You leave Ratatouille out of this, okay?
He's not in Ratatouille.
Why not?
Okay.
So,
do I have to school Czar right now?
Do it.
No, because this isn't a movie podcast.
It could be,
So-
though.
No, it couldn't be. Because it says the Game Tea podcast.
End of the day, gaming should always be inclusive. That's my
I
two
agree.
cents.
I think at its most trivial, celebrity inclusions are cool, fun Easter eggs. And at its best, celebrity cameos can make or break a game. I honestly don't see too many like bad sides to celebrities becoming more involved with these video games. You know, I really don't. So, sure, celebrities have the ability to like make people buy crap, but they've always done that, you know, not just for video games, for movies, for products. Like celebrities can put their names on and like endorse anything. It's not a new trend.
Right. JP, I totally agree with you. Boo boo.
Thanks, Zach.
So we're kind of under the consensus that they can, in fact, add good quality to a game.
Oh, big time.
I mean, because I kind of wonder, and I've just been off thinking about what would Death Stranding be like without Norman Reedus, or what would Cyberpunk be like without Keanu Reeves. And just,
how could we not bring up Norman's performance in Death Stranding?
I didn't play it. That's probably why.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, it's a PlayStation title.
I have a PlayStation, and I don't want to play it. But
neither.
JP, tell me more about your walking simulator.
Oh, I didn't play it.
But I will say, one thing that made me almost want to play it was Norman Reedus.
I can agree with that.
Exactly.
So some of these games would not be near as hyped and well played as they would be without the celebrity endorsing it.
Yeah, but again, that's not a new trend. You know, I mean, like, celebrities have endorsed all kinds of crap. There's people who endorse Pepsi, Czar.
Oh, God.
I know, right?
Oh, God, taking shots at possible sponsors. No.
Our Pepsi sponsor. It's gone.
There are very few things where I will not take a sponsor. Pepsi is one of them.
Oh, no.
And I'll tell you why. Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola. Now there's a drink.
Because if you don't drink Coca-Cola, then fuck you.
I mean, do we really want a Coke sponsor either?
That's what the polar bears say.
The polar bears?
Well,
the polar bears.
Well,
donate $1 to give a polar bear a bottle of Coke.
Look, I think we can really wrap this up by just saying Patton Oswalt did voice Remy the Rat in Ratatouille. 100% confirmed, and we can just go on from here.
I did know that. I knew that.
Oh, okay, so he was like the main character.
Yeah, he was Remy. He voiced Remy, and he did a good job.
Yeah,
it was a good movie.
Sorry, you voiced Remy, dude.
He voiced Remy.
Sorry.
Fair enough.
Sorry.
You just don't test me on this, all right?
Just don't listen to anything Czar says. He is under the influence of powerful narcotics.
He's taken the drugs.
All right, so I think we can move on to our third question of the day. Peaches, I'm going to have you get us started on this conversation. How many sequels can you make for a game before it's time to give up on the series? I've got a lot of opinions about this. I want to hear yours
Peaches,
first.
while you formulate your thoughts, GP, are you drawing your names out of a hat? Or like, how's this work? Like, come on.
I'm just choosing.
I'm watching you.
Choosing someone to start the
I'm
conversation.
watching you, man.
Whoever he feels
I
like.
thought that JP just remembered that I posed this question in a previous podcast.
That is what JP.
Why, Zach? Would you like to go first? You're more than welcome to go first, Zach.
What? No, I seriously want to know if there's like a science to this. That's all I wanted to know.
Oh, no, it's just I literally went down the line. It's like, okay, Czar went first on the first one. Zach took the second, so Peaches should go for this one.
That's logical. That's disgusting. Don't ever do logical stuff again. Anyway, Peaches, answer his question.
All right, so the correct number of sequels to have in a game is 5, because that gives me 2 more Mass Effect games. So,
oh my God, I am so sick of you today.
But what if Mass Effect 4 absolutely blows?
I still want another one after it,
like
and then
just
no
imagine
more.
like something called Andromeda, like just absolutely just tanks it.
I mean, could you imagine if that happened? That'd be crazy.
Yeah, like that would like shut it down for like 10 plus years, right?
Damn, that's some salt.
Peaches,
That
keep
was
going,
awesome.
Peaches. Come on.
Well, you know, so here's the thing: is
Passive
like
aggressive as fuck.
even though Andromeda was very poorly received, it still has surprisingly good reviews. Like, I mean, if you go to Metacritic and look at user reviews, I mean, you're going to see a lot of negatives, but you're also going to see a lot of positives. And Steam is currently mostly positive, which, I mean, isn't great. It's like, that just means it's over 50% of the reviews are positive. And I think there could have been a good game come out of that had they not just entirely scrapped it upon all the negative reviews from launch.
So, Ches, I don't think I understand.
So we're getting
Mass
kind of away from
Andromeda is Mass Effect 4. Is that what you're telling me?
this.
Technically,
yeah.
Okay, so then you don't want 5.
I mean,
'Cause you want 6.
if we're being honest, like right now, the working title for the next Mass Effect game is Mass Effect 4, as far as all of us know. So, I mean, technically, Andromeda is the 4th installment of the game, but is it technically Mass Effect 4? Who's to say? Again, we are kind of far from the question here.
Well, you're the one who brought up Mass Effect because, of course. So I'm just trying to answer the question. Answer the
I
question.
brought
We
up
got here because of you, Peaches.
I brought up Mass
we
Effect.
want answers, Peaches.
It was a meme. I said I just wanted to say I want 2 more Mass Effect games.
It was a misinput. Misinput.
You calm down.
All right.
Okay, so let me pose this question to get us going a little bit more. what do we define as a sequel? Like, I know that sounds like a really simple question, but think about it. Would you consider Zelda games to be sequels to one another if the stories don't technically connect? Or like you could say that about is the Animal Crossing New Horizons, is that a sequel to like New Leaf if the games aren't technically connected? Like
sequel
what is
according
a sequel
to the franchise. I mean, for Final Fantasy, I would count all games as sequels.
Disagree strongly,
but the stories
I'm gonna
don't
wait.
connect.
Give me your
Well,
thing.
Legend of Zelda, I would consider no, those aren't direct sequels. And so I don't know.
But why not? Why not? Like, what's the dividing line? Like,
well, namesake, I would say, like Final Fantasy 13 and
So,
Legend of Zelda is Majora's Mask to Ocarina of Time. That's no chronological order to it.
which is actually hilarious because it goes Majora's Mask right after Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, I said those backwards.
Yeah. I knew what you meant though.
I'm the fool.
Czar's stoned.
Again, he's on drugs. Hold him accountable for nothing.
Czar has all kinds of problems right now.
I'll let JP. He's the Final Fantasy guy. JP, do you need to play Final Fantasy 1 to understand Final Fantasy 7?
No,
Okay.
not at all.
Well,
They don't
So
connect.
are you
a sequel doesn't imply
classifying?
story.
Are you classifying sequels as direct continuations of stories? Because my classification of sequel
that's the question.
is more. Is it in like if it takes place in the same universe and is like continuing a story in that universe, then it is a sequel. So like technically, not all Call of Duty games are sequels because they're not direct continuations of stories. They all happen in the same universe, but they're not all sequels. But people still classify them as sequels because Call of Duty is paper thin story since Modern Warfare 3. Or
It comes down to, are you considering the franchise as a whole a franchise or a series? Because like if it's centered around Halo and it's not Master Chief related, then that's a spin-off, not a direct sequel, unless it's considered a sequel to the franchise.
So
if that makes sense.
Now, see, I think we're making this way too complicated.
But we have.
I think
we have to, though, right? Because that's like an important question to define what's going on here. But what are your thoughts, Zach?
So I see what you guys are getting at. I'm not saying you're wrong. I guess how I've always interpreted it is like, I feel like we're trying to like define this as like movies, like how you go like from Star Wars, like granted Star Wars is kind of a funny example too, because I guess technically it goes 4, 5, 6, then 1, 2, 3, then 7, 8, 9. But it's not like that for video games. Video games, I would be under like if it's the same universe. Like, it's all...
So within the franchise.
It's all part of it, the same franchise, I guess. So, yeah, I guess because Xenoblade 1 and 2, totally different, but they're in the same multiverse, I guess I could say, confidently. Knock on wood.
Like, all... Like, Halo 1 through 6 are in series, but Halo ODST is in franchise, but still a sequel, is what you're saying, right?
Yes.
That's how I would classify it.
But I would also
personally
say, like, even if it's a prequel, I think I would still say it's like some sort of a sequel.
Yeah.
Does that make that lame?
I mean, I agree with you. Like, I would classify Mass Effect Andromeda as technically a sequel to Mass Effect.
All right.
Same as you would classify Elder Scrolls 4 a sequel to Elder Scrolls 3?
Yeah, or like or Skyrim to Morrow or Skyrim to Oblivion.
So if it's a multiple game series within a franchise, it is considered a sequel. I think that is the most important determination right there.
Now,
Okay, but
here's where you get funky.
And
Now
now that
from
we've
there-
hashed, now that we've hashed
But like
that
that's what's
out.
interesting about the Final Fantasy series is despite the fact that they technically all happen in the same universe, the reason why you don't need to play one to have played all of the rest of them is the fact that you've got a different story that has nothing to do with any of the previous stories. So I don't think it's as much about the universe as it is about a continuation of the plot. Is kind of what I was getting at. And the reason why I think that's important is because, like, if you think about sequels, like, what makes a sequel go bad is when you take this core story that people really love and you mess with it enough to the point where people don't feel like it's the same game anymore. You know, like that's a big reason why people hated The Last of Us Part 2 over The Last of Us, is because like they felt like it's a sequel that took what they loved about the first one and completely spun it upside down.
Just bashed it in with a baseball bat. Just bashed
golf
it
club.
hardcore.
Golf club, actually.
Oh shit, sorry. Walking Dead, whatever. My bad.
No, you were close.
I'm triggered about the golf reference.
I mean, I've heard
Too soon.
Why is golf such an evil sport?
It broke me. It broke me so hard.
Because it's hard to say that it's a number. You know what I mean? Like, you could use Halo as the example if you want. I felt like they were great up until Halo Reach. And that's when the downfall began. And it's all a
Wait, you thought Halo Reach was the downfall?
No, I should say after Halo Reach. I'm saying that Halo Reach was like the last, like, wow, this is great. And
but you consider that a sequel?
Yes, but that's my point. Is like, what is that in the like line? Is that like 4 or 5 for Halo?
Halo is kind
technically
of a weird
1,
case because Halo Reach
0.
does kind of continue. Like it essentially starts the plot of Master Chief.
The end of the game is the start of Master Chief's journey.
But it's a part.
So-
But no matter where it goes to the timeline, it's a part of the main story, right?
Yeah.
It adds something to the main story going on. Because, like, I don't know if there has been a bad Final Fantasy game, for example. Whereas, like, games like Halo, where there's a continuation of the story, like, there's obviously a point where the quality degrades. And it's like, okay, what is that point? Is it like a number of games? Is it when the story just becomes like sour, when it's like good and then they just try and add more that ruins it? Like, it's so arbitrary.
Well, and I think that's what makes this question hard.
And Pokemon Troze is definitely canon. That's all I'm saying. Like, there are
Pokemon
so many.
Troze was fun.
There's so many spin-offs and ways to take this. I'm just sitting here like, I think I
That's
can
what
boil.
makes.
I can almost boil it down, and I guess like kind of like pissing you off at this point, JP. Like, it's just like,
You're not making me mad.
if you can make a game that like is fun, I won't even say original, it's just fun, like hopefully it's original and adds more, not necessarily to the story, but adds more to the franchise, then it's worth it. I don't know. I think it's when you just keep repeating and rehashing it over and over and over. That's when it's like, I think the sequels are like, we should have stopped at 3 because
So
nothing
then why
new
do we
happened.
still have sports games?
Because money.
Would you even consider those sequels? Like,
Not
Madden
really, 'cause
20
there's I feel like we can't because those have never had like an ongoing story.
I
Those have
disagree.
always-
It's the ongoing story of how depressed I am by seeing all these sports games released every year.
But, like, I mean, when you look at Final Fantasy, it may not be one story going on, but it, you know, like in the Final Fantasy series, there's a bunch of stories, and so they just happen in the same universe. Now, for this, I would have to argue that I think if your game ever stops, like, if you don't have an original idea or like a good story to follow, I think that's the point where you need to like give up on the series. Because I look at Call of Duty and like I remember like Modern Warfare 2, which had an incredible story, or like some would even say like Black Ops 1 or 2. And I feel like the game has just given up on story at this point, to the point where they're just doing multiplayer and selling you a $60 game that's just multiplayer, which I mean, that's another question, is that's a fucking ripoff, but in my opinion. But yeah, so like in my opinion, like that's when it's time to stop making sequels. Like if you're just going to be doing multiplayer, release that and just do the microtransaction thing.
Right.
Don't release a $60 game over and over again. But as long as you have an original idea, original story to be giving to people, I think it's fine to keep making sequels. Like Final Fantasy is on, who the fuck knows? I don't know, maybe 20,
16.
But as long as yeah, sure. As long as they're still coming up with like new stories to bring to you, then I'm fine with it. Whatever.
Zach brought up Pokemon, which I think is an interesting game to add to this question, isn't it? Because they had no original ideas for like 6 generations until they got to like Pokemon Sword and Shield, where they added a couple of really cool ideas, but it was still for the most part the same game.
Bro, I can't tell you how much...
Gigantamaxing isn't that cool. It's still the same Pokemon battle,
Well,
just you have a bigger Pokemon.
Even Gigantamaxing is a part of a trend, though. I call it the gimmick trend. It's where every Pokemon game has, like, one new gimmick that they, like, completely give up on after that.
Mega Evolution, Z-Stones.
Exactly. So,
we
like,
just talk about how fucking stupid Team Yell or Team Shout or Growl was.
yeah.
God, like,
They were
scrap the
cringeworthy.
whole damn game.
And that's the thing, too, is, like, we're not going to stop seeing sequels when the game stops being good. We're going to stop seeing sequels when it stops making money for the developer.
Right, we can talk trash on Madden 264, but they keep selling it for $60 and making their money back and then some. And it's been a known problem that they put in very minimal effort, but most casual audiences don't care.
Yep.
I mean,
I feel. Is there anything else we can add to this? I feel like we've kind of.
No,
I
just
feel
a
like
bunch
we
of
answered
food.
the.
Bunch of food.
I feel like we answered the question way too simply for how much we talked, like just right at the end there.
Well, the point of
we
these
answered a million
questions.
splinter
We
questions.
didn't even come. We spent the first half of this question defining what a sequel was.
It's important. It is important.
That's fair. That's fair.
It is important to the context of the question.
And the thing is, like, I feel like it's a question where you feel like there's a simple answer, but it's a lot more in depth than you think.
There are a lot more working parts to this for sure, but I think we're more or less on the same page as to when a sequel is no longer warranted for a gaming franchise. When it simply stops making money.
When it stops making money.
That's a business's
Next
answer,
question.
but as a consumer's answer, I would say when it's not original or not good anymore.
When you have no more good ideas to bring to the table. Because some people consider The Last of Us Part 2 the end of the Last of Us franchise. And some people still think that, like, other big games are going really strong after, like, 10 iterations. It's more about the freshness and the consistency of good ideas than it is some number.
I don't think there's ever been a more controversial game than Last of Us 2. Like, either it's 10 out of 10 masterpiece or it's a 0 out of 10 pile of garbage to people.
You're damn right. That's why it was so fun to make an episode just talking about it.
And I'm glad Zach was there for it.
You were having fun? You were so angry.
I was so angry. I was very angry, okay? Angry.
Ooh. So grumpy.
I'm grumpled. All right. We have one more question to ask for today. And Zach, I want you to take it because you're the biggest competitive gamer that I might know. To what extent are we fine adding elements of competition to not typically competitive games? Like Minecraft, Stardew Valley, Animal Crossing. Is it even possible? Like, what do you think?
Yeah, Animal Crossing 99. They all start with a pickaxe. And it's basically like, it's like Deal or No Deal, but without, the orange guy. All right? How cool would that be? All right? You got to make the coolest house in under amount of time. And then, like, Peaches gets to vote on it.
Well, I mean, it's like people kind of got competitive. I don't know, maybe competitive isn't the best word for Animal Crossing, but like people were like, doing that time glitch thing where, they were rushing ahead a bunch to like, maybe they weren't trying to just get ahead of other people. Maybe they were doing it just so they can continue on with the game. But in my head, that's the competitive in nature because I feel like, you're who are you trying to get ahead of? Like, I mean,
Tom Nook.
And like start
Tom
my
Nook.
example for you, Tom Nook, of
That's
course.
like it's a game you already lost.
But Minecraft adds all these like modes where you can like do Minecraft like Hunger Games.
Right. There's like a PvP mode.
Minecraft
thing.
just had a world championship not too long ago. I don't think we covered it.
Well,
But
and like in Stardew, there's this thing that I did called like the 1 year challenge. I saw other people were doing this. And so I was immediately like, well, if these other people are doing this, I need to show that I can also do this. And so there's like these elements of competition getting added to, otherwise, just like cozy
okay,
games.
but where is the limit between competition and arbitrary rules in place by yourself to like make the game harder. So like, what was that term for Pokemon games?
Ooh, you're talking about a Nuzlocke.
Nuzlocke, yes. Extending the definition of Nuzlocke to many other situations.
Well, the problem is I feel that Pokemon is already competitive in nature.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, the question is more like,
gotta be the very best.
But yeah, obviously,
Like, no
it's in the
one ever
fucking
was.
song. But like,
Not like the rest.
exactly. But take a game like Animal Crossing, where literally the point of the game is the fact that it's not competitive. That's the point of Animal Crossing, is that there's no competing. There's no anger or mad feelings that aren't directed towards Tom Nook, obviously. It's just supposed to be, I'm gonna make this island so cute. I'm gonna plant my happy little flower right here. It's a Bob Ross simulator is what Animal Crossing is. Does that sound competitive to you?
Yes.
How would you even make that competitive?
My tree is happier than yours.
I mean, I feel like people do get competitive with it in the sense that, like, people want their islands to look better or be better than other people's islands. And I mean,
or they just want to show it off to their friends. Like, they want, like,
I mean, and that's totally fine. Like, people will play it in different ways, but I do feel like there are people that play Animal Crossing with an element of competition.
I think that's what's really cool about video games is, like, if that's how they want to play it, go for it. I mean, like, yeah.
But, and so that this gets us back to the question, like, to what extent are we fine adding this element of competition to it? Because, like, these are otherwise, you know, like I said, just cozy games, you know? So, do we really want,
I think that competition could be anywhere, honestly. I mean, it depends on the type of person you are. If you're a naturally competitive person, like Zach or my wife, for instance, you can turn everything into a competition. My wife and I frequently have who can beat the most Mario levels as a competition, and that game is cooperative. Like, we're both trying to reach the end goal here, but she's just trying to step on my head faster.
Fuck cooperative mode.
Fuck your cooperation. I play for competition.
Or like you're playing Portal 2 co-op and you intentionally like drop them into a pit.
LOL, I love it.
I'm gonna get to the exit faster than you, but we have to do it together. But I will do it faster together.
That's the thing with Nintendo, is like, that's almost their whole thing too, is like making games that are meant not to be competitive in like the traditional fashion.
Oh, you look at me and like fucking say Nintendo isn't trying to make competitive games when they purposely release Mario Party.
You know what? You got me there. You got me.
That ruins friendships.
You got me with Mario Party. That's true. I don't know, but like even Mario Party, if you think about it, isn't as much about skill as it is dumb luck, which kind of softens like any true sense of competition. It's like taking the game Chutes and Ladders too seriously. It's like, who wins here?
Well, don't tell that to my friend Jeffrey, who I haven't talked to in years.
I guarantee you, JP, there is a competitive Chutes and Ladder community. There is a competitive Mario Party community. Like, I guarantee you, people will add anything to a video game to spice it up for themselves. Like, I mean, like, I'm sure there's like algorithms on how you know which die you're going to get and how that can affect which way you go on a Mario Party board.
You're probably
there's a tier list. No, there's legitimately a tier list for the best characters you can pick on the newest Mario Party.
Yeah, and Mario Kart 8, the same way. Is there dumb luck with a little bit of skill? Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know. I just think you can make anything competitive. Just like Czar said, you can make a cooperative game competitive. It's just like human nature based on the people.
All right, but for the record, I can tell you what the tier list is of Mario Party, okay? F tier, everybody except Monty Mole. S tier, Monty fucking Mole.
Actually, from what I remember, the S tier was like Boo and Donkey Kong, and I can't remember who else.
Well,
those
that
are the
list
two
is
that I remember.
that list is stupid, and we're not talking about it.
Don't you talk shit on my Boo.
Yeah, Czar's a big Boo fan.
He's got the good 7 dice.
He's no Monty Mole. Okay? Monty Mole. The best character that Nintendo's ever created.
Change my mind.
What about Charge and Chuck?
What about Charge and Chuck?
Someone hasn't played Mario Golf.
Oh, I have been playing Mario Golf. Charge and Chuck is a schlep, okay? All he does is make you feel bad when he does not know how to play this game, okay? Charge and Chuck sucks.
Charge and Chuck can hit the ball a quarter mile. Okay? Okay.
That's because he has the smoothest brain around, Zach. Charge and Chuck is a smooth-brained idiot.
Wait a second. When you said I have a smooth... Oh, you monster.
Wait, that means I have it by the transitive property.
You activated my trap card. You suck.
Damn it. Now, am I going back to the Shadow Realm?
Yes.
I don't know who let you out.
That's a good question. How'd I get out?
Someone crack a window?
It was me. I let him out.
Well, that was a silly move, wasn't it?
I know. I'm a silly person.
Peaches, you're a third-rate podcaster with fourth-rate jokes. Oh,
That's how I feel today.
You know, since we're now on the topic of Yu-Gi-Oh, what do you guys think about getting out of here?
yes.
I'm okay with that.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
I think we've gotten to the
I'm
logical
about
conclusion.
to fall out of this chair.
Yeah, let's get out of here before Czar dies. And I feel like
My spine can't hold my
Stop
body up
interrupting
for
JP.
this
He's
long.
trying to end it, Czar.
Sorry, I just wanted to say a little bit about my pain.
How dare you make this about you?
a little about me. I'm Czar and I'm in pain.
Oh,
Except this time it's physical.
Oh,
it is
that was mean.
so physical.
Let's get physical. Physical.
All right.
Let's get out of here. Out of here.
All right. We've come to the logical conclusion here, which is that there are no answers and we're all smooth-brained idiots. So,
And
it's
how?
time to get... Yup. So it's time to get out of here for the day. Czar, it's really good to hear your voice again. Thanks for joining us, even though you're about to die.
Woo, I'll be back in full swing soon, hopefully.
Better be.
Or maybe I'll never walk again due to infection. Find out next week.
On Dragon Ball. Wait a second. What are we?
No, you had that right. We're Dragon Ball Z.
Yahoo!
All right. Thank you so
Oh.
much for joining us on another episode of Dragon Ball Z. We'll see you in the next episode.
Wait, what? You just
Wait, hold
got
on.
your ball tea?
All right. I'm sorry. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of the Game Tea Podcast. We'll see you on the next episode.
You just got your game tea.
Bye.
Later.
If you like what you heard today and you're looking for more ways to get your game tea fix, check us out on Patreon. With bronze, silver, and gold tiers starting at $2 a month, there are several incredible rewards you can receive for supporting the show, such as a follow from us on Twitter, access to a monthly Q&A session, an invitation to our private Discord server, and even bonus episodes of the podcast only accessible to patrons. Your donations will be used to make the show even better. The link to Patreon is in the description with our social media, so go check it out. Once again, thank you so much for listening to the Game Tea Podcast.